Most reselling content creators are putting out videos that say things like, here are the reasons why you should get into reselling, and here are all of the reasons why reselling could and should and will benefit you and your life and your circumstance. But in today's video, what we want to do is talk about the reasons why you should not get into reselling, or if you're already a reseller, the reasons why you should maybe think about packing up your bags and moving on to a different business.
Hey everyone, my name is Bethany.
And my name is Sean, and together we are Trash Pandas Thrift.
Ooh, where's it going?
Where is it going to be this time? Ooh, nobody knows.
We are a six-figure reselling business, and here on this channel, we share with you all of our tips, tricks, and experiences, all so that you can start and grow your very own reselling business too. Today, we have 5 reasons that you should not resell clothing in 2024. I hope you are excited because we are excited to dive in because these are things that we really thought were important to share today. Let's go right with number 1. So reason number 1 that you should not resell clothing is because you want to get rich quick. And let me tell you, if you want to get rich quick in anything, you probably won't. And that is especially true for reselling because it is anything but a get rich quick scheme.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in 2024 who might get offended by what I'm about to say, but the reality is that my chair is sinking and I have to put it up a little bit.
Mine was too in the same time.
Yeah. But the reality is that anything that comes quick is probably not going to be a good thing long term. An example could be, and hopefully not a lot of people take offense to us, but if you do, I apologize in advance, the whole thing with weight loss and the Ozempic thing that was going on in the past couple of years, where people are literally taking pills to avoid putting the work in to go to the gym or dieting and doing the proper things that they need to do to take care of their health and their bodies. That's not the way that you actually have long-term success in your health and your fitness and your life, right? The same thing is going to be with reselling. It's not a get rich quick. You don't just go find 3 or 4 bolos, you memorize them, you go out and you find a bunch of stuff and you make a bunch of money. You don't start running whatnot shows and all of a sudden you have 50, 60, 70 people in your shows all bidding up your Old Navy size extra large dresses to $75. It doesn't work that way. It takes time. And if you want to get rich quick, this is not the thing for you. And honestly, most entrepreneurial ventures will not be the thing for you.
Anything easy is probably not worth it. And I mean that. And I always like to say that reselling is simple, right? It's the same tasks over and over again. It is simple, but it is not easy. Starting a reselling business is not easy. Growing that business is not easy. It is hard. I will be the first to tell you that it is hard. And honestly, I love that it is hard because I know how hard it is. I know how special it is to start something and grow it from nothing and nurture it like a little baby, because truly that's what it is. You put your passion, you put your soul. It's my project, right? It's our baby that we have built together from nothing. And if I would look at it, and I would never call it a get rich quick scheme, because honestly, it's kind of disrespectful, right? Like it's such a special thing to build a business from nothing, especially a reselling business, because all of the knowledge, all of the hard work that goes into it, it is hard. And that is something to actually be proud of, right? That is something that we should absolutely be proud of.
And I totally agree. And that's going to lead into point number 2, or reason number 2, why you shouldn't get into reselling, which is if you're looking for something to get rich quick, you're probably also looking for something easy and something simple. And reason number 2 is if you're looking for a skill that you can learn once and never have to learn anything new again, this is also not for you. Reselling is a business that is just like any other business where things are just constantly evolving. A great example, that's a real world example that a lot of us can see and relate to in our everyday life, is the restaurant industry, right? We see restaurants in the same spot popping up and closing, popping up and closing, and popping up and closing. And it might be because the location is bad. It might be because the marketing is bad. It might be because the customers there just don't want that type of cuisine, that type of food. Or there could be a bunch of other reasons as to why that's happening. But the reality is that there's something that they're doing to not keep up with the times and with the trends. I'm gonna have to keep fixing my chair because apparently this warehouse space that we pay $600 a month to isn't keeping up with the times and trends with appropriate furniture. But the point being is that you have to be paying attention to what is new and trending. You have to keep your finger on the pulse of the market and of all the things going on in reselling with platforms and fees and new ways of selling, live selling and offers and marketing and all these different things that go into it. It's a constantly updating of your skills.
My personal favorite example of this is always going to be style-based sourcing, right? When I first started reselling, I kind of looked around. The reselling landscape was a lot different. I'll just say that, right? Reselling prior to 2020 even is like a whole other beast than what it is now. And that's a good thing because all anyone was talking about is these brands are what you pick up to resell. These brands only. It doesn't matter what style. And I'd go out and I'd find those brands that were marked up to almost $15 in my thrift store, right? All the Lululemon. It was always $15 at my thrift store. And then I realized, okay, wait a minute. If I can't find these brands that everyone is always talking about, only these great brands or high sell-through rate items sell, what am I going to do? And I realized when that day that me and Sean went, and we talked about this before, that we sat down and we figured out, okay, we need to change this. We need to learn something new. We have to do something. From that day forward, our reselling business has been always in the pursuit of knowledge. I wake up every day and I have a research method that I do every single day. I have a list of Instagram accounts that I follow. I have a list of fashion blogs that I look at. I have a list of resources that I personally use to make sure I know what style aesthetics I'm sourcing for. What keywords should I be using? What keywords should I be talking about? What keywords do buyers want to see? And that's just one of the ways where knowledge is ever growing. It is ever changing, especially in the way that we resell, and it's in so many different other ways too.
And speaking of doing a lot of the things the same every single day, which is what you just said with your research routine.
Yep.
Reason number 3 that you should not get into reselling is if you want every single day to look different and be exciting and just wake up excited to tackle the day with all of these new things and different things and all of these amazing tasks that you're going to go out into the world and conquer. Right? If you want every day to be exciting and every single day to be different, you're probably in the wrong business. Okay? Every single day pretty much looks the same. Mm-hmm. It really, really does. There are some variances in what we're picking up when we're sourcing. There are some variances in the way that we're doing our shows when we're doing our shows. There's some variance in the videos that we're making. But a lot of the time, things pretty much become the same.
Yeah. All of our weeks pretty much look the same. Last Monday is going to be exactly what I'm going to do this Monday. I might do something a little bit different on Tuesday. I'm still going to wake up at the same time. I'm going to get to the Goodwill outlet at the same time. I'm even going to go walk to McDonald's to take my mandatory bathroom break at the same time because that is just structure, right? We're resellers, we're entrepreneurs, but man, there's still structure and there's things that you need to get done every single day. And those things are not sometimes luxurious. They're boring. They're making sure you have X amount of listings up every single day. It means you ship. If you have to ship every other day, you ship every other day. You do the same thing over and over and over again, which is why you get to learn all the exciting new things. And reason number 2, right? If you do love learning new things and you like excitement, you can have that in research and understanding new trends, but you're not going to have that in terms of what you're actually doing in your day-to-day life.
And if you're not doing this, where you're doing basically the same thing on a daily or weekly basis, you're probably not making money because you're not doing the things that you need to do to make money. If you're not listing, if you're not picturing, or if you're not doing shows and you're not shipping, and if you're not sourcing in a consistent schedule, you're not making money. And that's why these things kind of play into each other. And it kind of leads number 2 and number 4 are kind of similar, which is reason number 4 that you shouldn't get into reselling or that you should quit reselling is if you hate change and you hate trying new things, right? Because if you hate those 2 things and you don't want to be someone who's learning and constantly evolving, again, this is not going to be for you. Things change. Fee structures change.
Oh, yeah.
Your thrift stores will change their pricing. They'll change their tag days. Our Goodwill outlet has changed the way that they do their outlet shopping on so many different occasions.
Yeah.
Things change. You have to be able to adjust and to pivot. If you're not, you're gonna die. Not literally, but your business is going to die.
Honestly, this has only gotten more of a topic that we talk about lately, especially with the fee change with a certain platform and then the fee reverting back. We just sat down and we actually just filmed a video about what separates, right, successful six-figure resellers from what doesn't. And I think this was number one, right? It was being flexible and understanding that sometimes you have to pivot. Like, you have to try something new. You have to have this willingness to change if your business demands it. And not only just your business, what if outside circumstances demand it? You go to the Goodwill and the same Goodwill you've been going to, you know they have half off tags, and then all of a sudden, no more half off color. That's it. Are you just going to stop sourcing? Are you not going to go there anymore? No. You're going to develop a new strategy. You're going to pivot. You're going to adjust. If I go to the Goodwill outlet and they say, "Oh, we're not doing shoes anymore," right? Our Goodwill outlet stopped putting out shoes. What would I do if I was only a shoe reseller? I would start selling other things. What else are you selling? What can I start selling instead? So it's not just internal circumstances, it's external circumstances too, especially in 2024 with all thrift store prices rising, all of them.
And not just that, but with keywords, with trends, with styles.
Everything.
If you hate change, if you don't want to learn new things, if you don't want to see a style aesthetic, like a lot of people in our group, for example, in Resellers University, they might have grown up in an era that is called 70s or 90s or Y2K, and the definition of that trending keyword today might be a little bit different than the way that it was before. And they're willing to learn, they're willing to adjust, they're willing to adapt and say, okay, although I know this meant something different when I was growing up, now it means this thing and I have to be able to see it in two different lights. If you're not willing to learn, you're gonna fail. If you're not willing to look at something and understand that there are nuances, there is context, things are constantly evolving and changing. And if you don't like that, you're never going to be able to grow past a certain point. And believe me, that ceiling is very low if you don't want to learn and continue to grow in reselling.
I will say this though, I am not a chameleon. I am actually probably out of all reptiles, I'm trying to think what I would be, like a slow lizard, because I hate change. Personally, right?
Wow.
Like I do, right? And I've
You
always
could just be like our cat Rupert.
I'm like our cat Rupert. And this is like, I literally put as a reason, you shouldn't be a reseller if you hate change. I've literally had to look at the way that I react. Like, how do I react to things that happen to me, to our business, to outside circumstances? If I can't control it, I had to sit there and just accept that I can't control it. And if some of you guys relate, like that's really hard to do, but you can work towards that and you can change that, especially if you're feeling that way and you know that you can run a great reselling business. That's something that you can work on.
Yep. And leading into reason number 5 that you should not be a reseller or that you should not get into reselling is if you do the bare minimum amount of work to achieve results. So if you work a W-2 job, it's probably fine. If you show up to your job, you do what you gotta do, you clock in, you do the things that you're supposed to do, and you clock out, that probably can get by in a W-2 job. But if you're an entrepreneur, you need to constantly be going above and beyond to achieve the next level of success. There is no going up the mountain and then kind of staying here and going up and staying here. No, we are running a business, and a business is a muddy mountain, meaning you're climbing up, and whenever you stop progressing, you start sinking back down.
Yeah.
Every time you take 2 steps forward, you really are taking 1 step back usually, and that's okay. That's how life goes. But if you're not taking those steps forward, you're still taking those steps backwards, and you have to be willing to work. You have to be willing to put in the time. It's not easy, like you said at the start of this video. It's not always going to be easy times. There were weeks that we were working 70, 80 hours a week so that we could get what we need to get done when we need it to get done.
Yeah.
There were times we had to pivot when we moved to San Francisco, and it was a completely different kind of way to exist in the world for our business. It was not the same as it was when we were living in Texas. And we had to pivot, otherwise we wouldn't be having this conversation with you today.
Yeah. Reselling, and honestly, this is even beyond reselling, any type of entrepreneurial venture, any type of business that you start, that you grow. I meant it when I said it's a passion project, because it takes passion, it takes nurturing, it takes hard work. You need to water it, right? It takes an active role to be successful, truly. And I say that fully understanding and knowing that we all come from different backgrounds and different abilities. And that means something different for you. That doesn't mean that you need to look at us and say, okay, I'm not working as hard as they're working, I need to work harder. No, you need to look at yourself, right? You're looking at only your mountain. How high can you make your mountain, not comparatively to everyone else? If you're putting in as much as you can possibly put in your business, that is perfect. And that is what you should be doing. However, if you're looking at your business and you know you could be doing more, or you just know that you're looking at something, and if you watched another video that probably came out right before this one, and something's just a little off and you know you need to tweak something and you're ignoring it, that's the sign that you need to get that extra oomph. You need to work more than just achieving that minimum. You need to go above and beyond, because it's up to you. That's the best part of reselling. It is truly up to you. You can work as hard or as little as you want.
But if you are the kind of person who is going to be that person that is just always looking to achieve the bare minimum, if you show up, like I train Muay Thai, right? I haven't trained for the last 6 months, but I've been training Muay Thai for the past 3.5 years. And you would see people come to the class and you would see them get in and they would go through the motions. They would do the exercises, they'd go through the motions, but there's no effort. It's just them getting in there just to say they showed up, they worked out, they did their best. When you can definitely tell they're barely seeing the peak of the mountain. There's so much more room for them to grow, but they don't really have the desire to grow. And that's okay. There's no judgment being passed onto them. But the reality is, you start to see people when they start to sweat. When they actually get in there and things get challenging and things get hard and you see them struggling, then you see who a person really is and the effort they're willing to put. And that's not just in training and martial art, that's in business too. When things get difficult and you start to sweat and you start to get anxious and you start to wonder, what the hell am I gonna do next? That's when you become a real entrepreneur. Because you don't just give up, you start doubling down.
Yep.
And you put more work in. And you're not going to do that if, like reason number 5, you're just the kind of person who doesn't want to do more than the minimum. If you're that kind of person, don't get into business. Stay at a W-2 job, stay somewhere where you just show up, you do the bare minimum, and you leave. This is not for you.
You said a really good word. You said the word desire. And I was just about to say, you have to really want it. You have to really want it. You need to feel that desire. And it doesn't mean that you have to love reselling. Whatever your purpose is, right? You need to want that. You need to want that more than anything. You see yourself at that finish line, whatever your motivation is, whatever it is for you, you need to want that more than anything. And you need to be willing to work towards that as hard as you can, more than anything. It's not desire even. It's just an innate word that I don't even have.
Unwillingness to give up.
Exactly.
It's an unwillingness to quit. And I say it all of the time in so many different areas of life, especially when I'm talking to friends or family or people I care about, or when we're talking in the group, Resellers University. What we talk about is your end goal is your end goal. The vehicle that you use to get there does not matter. If you need to go from California to New York, it doesn't matter if you get there by boat, by plane, by bike, by walking, by a Ferrari, by an SUV, or by a skateboard. If you absolutely need to get from California to New York and there is nothing else that you're going to compromise except to achieve that goal, you're going to get there. It doesn't really matter how you get there. You don't really care how you get there. What matters is that you do get there. So if you want to be a successful reseller, you got to be willing to do whatever it takes. And if you're the kind of person who is a bare minimum kind of person, you're just not. And that's okay. I get that. I understand. A lot of people are like that. And by the way, you could just be like that in business and work. You might not be like that in other areas of your life. But if you are like that when it comes to your business and your work, this is not for you and you're going to fail, guaranteed. Stop ahead. Stop now.
Yeah. You said when you were talking about this is the type of advice you would give to your friend or someone you care about or your family. I think that's really important. And when we sat down, we were trying to rework number 5 quite a couple times before we settled on the wording of this, because it's something that you say to someone that you care about, right? It's truly something that you say to someone because you really care about if they succeed, because you want them to succeed. But if there's nobody that wants you to succeed more than you. Not even us. And we're probably one of the only people that are content creators that are even going to say this out loud, right? Because this is hard to say. It truly is. It's not something that's easy to say. And I'm not even a tough love person, but I agree that this is probably one of the biggest, most significant videos we've made in a minute, because these are things that you need to know and understand as a business owner, and things if I did not understand, if I did not wake up one day and fully entrench myself and believe in myself, in these tenets, no matter what, I don't think we would have gotten to the point we are today. And so we say that to you to make sure that if you have any of these reasons and you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you do want to take your business and you want to take it and climb with it and build your own mountain with it, you have got to knock these trees down. You have to stop wanting every day to look exciting. You have to stop hating change. You have to stop wanting a skill that you learn once and never again, or else reselling isn't it for you, right?
And you got to stop looking for that next big check, because it's going to come.
Yeah.
It's just going to come slowly. And and by slowly, I don't mean it's going to take years. I mean, it's going to come bit by bit by bit by bit. One month you might have a $500 month, then a $700 month, then maybe an $800 month, then a $600 month, then a $1,000 month. And then a $1,000 month turn into a $1,500 month, and then it regulates back down to a $1,200 month, or whatever. You might go, like when we were running our stores online, we were constantly fluctuating between 25 and like 32 or 33,000. One month might be 25, next month might be 29 or 30, and then it might drop back down to like 28 or 29. And it's variable and it fluctuates. And the point is, you don't want to rely on getting rich quick or any of these other tenets, especially the last one, which we put it very nicely, which is if you don't want to, if you generally work to achieve the bare minimum, that's just not going to be for you. And I hope that all of these things you can just sit with and spend some time with it and really consider if this is for you, because I want it to be. We love reselling. We have a whole group.
I think everyone should be a reseller.
Yeah, we have a whole group in Resellers at University of over 300 other resellers around the country. Even some people in Canada, which is crazy to me.
I know every single one of them is going to succeed.
Yeah.
I know that for
100%.
a fact. And I truly know that if you're looking at me and you're like, I want that too, you can do it. It doesn't matter if you currently feel any of these reasons. If you currently feel like you're in this boat, hop out of the boat. If you want to resell, just hop out of this boat and change yourself, as you can. You know, anyone can be a reseller. Anyone can do this. When I say it's simple, but it's not easy, it's still simple. Anyone can do this. It just takes hard work and it takes grit. And it is a business that we are so grateful for, because I know it can change lives and it can change yours if you want it. So you have to sit down and you have to ask yourself if you want it.
Yeah. Well, I hope this was a helpful video for you, and I know that this one wasn't supposed to be necessarily a Debbie Downing video, but I hope that it's a reality check, especially if you need it. Some people don't need it. Some people are already on that path. Maybe you're just watching this for entertainment purposes. But if this does hit home with you, and you heard any of these points, and you second guess yourself, even for a second, sit down with that point that did hit home and that did make you second guess yourself, and ask yourself, am I really dedicated to making this work, and am I willing to adjust and adapt? If you're not, it might be time to hang up the gloves and move on. But I hope this video was beneficial for you. I hope that you don't hang up the gloves and move on. I hope that you know that anybody of any level, of any age, of any background, of any previous work history, of anything ever, can achieve anything that you set your mind to. It's just a matter of if you're willing to put in the work.
Yeah, I completely agree. I couldn't say it any better.
So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. And I will see you guys, or Bethany will see you guys in the next video, which is probably going to be a haul video.
Probably.
Gee, I wonder why. We already recorded it. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thanks so much, you guys.
And
make sure to hit that subscribe button.
Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe button. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.